let's say, over a short piece from the Zera Shimshon and Parshas Vayigash. So the Zera Shimshon brings us to the verses that talk about Yosef revealing himself to the brothers, where it says, Ani Yosef avod avi chai, I am Yosef, is my father still alive? And the verses say that the brothers were not able to answer Yosef because they were so perturbed by the situation that they found themselves in. Now, the Zera Shimshon brings a famous medrash. The medrash says that Yosef, who was the youngest of all the tribes, he caused it that his older brothers could not respond to him out of shame. So to us, on the great day of judgment, when God is standing before us and shows us our deeds, how much more so we won't be able to respond because of shame. Now, the Zera Shimshon wants to gain a deeper understanding of the connection between these two ideas. So many rabbis say that why couldn't the tribes recognize Yosef when they were in Egypt and they were dealing with him? Rashi says that the reason they couldn't recognize him is because he had a beard. Now that sounds kind of comical because that implies that everything else was literally the same. The eyes, the ears, the face, the voice. The only thing they couldn't recognize him because now he had a beard, and before he didn't have a beard. It kind of sounds like Clark Kent and Superman type of situation, right? Oh, that's not Superman. I mean, that guy looks exactly like Superman, but he has glasses on, so it can't be Superman. It kind of sounds like a cartoon. So what was going on with the tribes that they couldn't recognize Yosef? So Hashem says to us on the great day of judgment, and this is the connection that Zera Shimshon wants to bring down, he says, and he shows us what we've done in our lives. He shows us all of our deeds. And let's just use an example of stealing. So he shows us a video of us where we're clearly stealing. Yet in the video, we're like, this is like in your life. Oh, that wasn't stealing because of this little detail. Just a small little detail. It wasn't stealing. Meaning, it 99.9% matches the definition of stealing, but there's a small little detail that makes it 1% ambiguous. Now, us, when we are in the world of truth and we're sitting next to God watching this video, we put our heads down and we're like, how could I have been so dumb? That's so obviously stealing. It's so obvious that little 0.1% different where it made it a little ambiguous is really not enough for us to say that that's not stealing. And we feel ashamed. So that's the connection, he says. Meaning that Yosef, the only thing that separated him from the brothers' mind of what Yosef was a small beard. That's ridiculous. It's almost comical. Yet that's what caused them not to recognize him. And they felt so ashamed that they went through this whole charade and they felt so embarrassed. They're like, oh my gosh, it's so obvious Yosef. But they only harped on to that little 0.1% that made him look different. So we do the same thing on a daily basis. And we're going to feel shame for that on the great day of judgment. We harp on to the 0.1% difference between the sin and the textbook definition of the sin that we say, oh yeah, so this is permitted. Right? I mean, I'm not stealing cash. It's Bitcoin. I mean, you're stealing from somebody. What difference does that make? It's not the traditional type of stealing. Okay, but that's what we focus on to allow us to sin. And so when we get to the great day of judgment, God is going to show us this video and we're going to feel so ashamed. That is the connection between the great day of judgment and what happened with Yosef. And that's how we're supposed to see it. So try now to gain perspective. Try now to look at yourself and see, is what I'm doing really, really permitted?